Check out this awesome execution by the Fever. So, after Napheesa Smith passed it off to Kelsey Mitchell, she set a flare screen for Caitlin, who then played hot potato with Mitchell before drilling the three.
More win this year than each of the last 2 years combined. So look at Mitchell, Clark, play and catch. Hey, Clark.
Now, as complicated as that play is, the Lynx answers simply on the other end, as Napheesa Collier just backs Lexi Hull and drops this smooth turnaround jumper from the baseline. And after showcasing their offensive bag, Cece and Collier involve their teammates in the mix. I mean, Caitlin shakes off Collier and lobs it off to Aaliyah Boston for an easy layup in the paint. Meanwhile, Collier sprays it out to Cecilia Zandalicini for the three ball at the wing.
Clark driving on Carlton, Clark hangs, and Napheesa Collier.
Those plays just serve as tasty appetizers for the main course, which is the rubber match between the Indiana Fever and Minnesota Lynx, two teams that boast the best record since the Olympic break, while also being headlined with the matchup featuring the WNBA Players of the Month in Caitlin Clark and Napheesa Collier. I mean, this game definitely has a big fight feel in it, not only because everyone expects fireworks from these two quality squads, but because both Caitlin and Collier are certified crowd drawers and trailblazers for women's basketball in their own right. Anyway, be sure to get your popcorn ready, because this matchup is going to be a banger. And with that being said, let's cut to the chase and jump right into the good stuff. To open up the game, Caitlin whips a nice dime to Aaliyah Boston, who broke loose on the break.
Clark looking ahead and finds Boston.
Collier responds by being aggressive early as she draws a couple of fouls to earn her points from the stripe, before knocking down a 15-foot jumper to tie things up, 9 apiece. Both teams are feeling out each other as the score remains close midway through the first. And to create some separation both literally and figuratively, Caitlin hits this step back J.
She's a good defender too, and Clark,
which she followed up with her first three-pointer of the ballgame.
looking aggressive, Clark launches and hits a three.
That basket made Caitlin the Fever's franchise leader for three-pointers made in a single season, surpassing her teammate Kelsey Mitchell, who racked up 102 three-pointers. And to wrap things up in the first, CC dished it out to Mitchell, who converted the right-handed lay-in in transition. After 10 minutes of play, the Fever took a commanding lead 27-19, with Caitlin dropping 7 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds, while Collier punched in 8 points to go along with 4 rebounds. Anyway, the Fever sustains their momentum heading into the second quarter, as Caitlin picks up where she left off by hitting this long triple upon crossing the midcourt.
And especially, that's one way.
Then moments later, she pulls a behind the back and drives all the way to the basket for 2, before lobbing it up to AB for another easy finish underneath.
And once again, it's Clark ahead to Boston.
On the other hand, Collier uses her size once again as she continues to attack the paint. And right after CC drills this catch-and-shoot 3, Collier swerves back by hitting this contested fall-away jumper from the baseline.
Right now for the Fever. Again, it's not always about the mix of a make.
Despite the Lynx ending the quarter on a strong note, the Fever were still in control of the ball game as they established a 45-50 lead at the half. Caitlin had a big second quarter, scoring 10 points on 4 of 6 shooting from the field and 2 of 3 from downtown. Meanwhile, Collier drops 6 points of her own and grabs 2 boards as they play catch-up with the home team. Without question, the momentum was clearly on the side of the Fever after 20 minutes of play. However, Collier and the Lynx would completely flip the script in the second half as the Fever couldn't hit a bucket in the first 3 minutes of the third.
Right, sticking right with her. Step for step.
And because of this offensive slump, the Lynx eventually took advantage and regained the lead, courtesy of this Courtney Williams floater.
Too strong.
Anyway, after trying several times, Kelsey Mitchell finally broke the dry spell for the Fever. But as soon as the Fever climbed their way back, Collier turns it up a notch and starts cooking. I mean, here she is knocking down a wide-open, straightaway 3. Then, she hits another layup down low to push the lead back to 8 points. Caitlin, though, wouldn't go down without a fight as she answers right back with this 3, while the defense was all over her.
Fever had their way with it in the first quarter. Clark trying to get Indiana started, and maybe that'll help.
However, the frustration started to mount for Clark. A few no calls had her visibly upset, and instead of getting the call, she ended up on the floor, and the Lynx capitalized on the turnover. Both CC and Collier exchanged haymakers in the third, but in the end, it was the Lynx who took a commanding lead thanks to the 9 points that Collier provided in that quarter. Anyway, down double digits to start the fourth, the Fever quickly got to work to trim the lead as Caitlin served up Lexi Hull and Kelsey Mitchell with back-to-back triples in the first 2 minutes.
Clark, Mitchell, wide open.
That rainbow three by Mitchell cut down the lead to just 6. And then, moments later, CC joined the splash party as well by knocking down this long bomb to make it a one-possession ball game.
Setting up Clark, ABC!
Before she locates AB on the roll, who pounces her way inside for the tough bucket.
Boston one bounce and lays it in.
And then, with 4 minutes left in the game, Kelsey Mitchell keeps the Fever within striking distance with this clutch three-pointer, much to the delight of Tyrese Halliburton. However, as things start to look good for the Fever, Bridget Carleton shuts down their comeback hopes by hitting back-to-back ice-cold threes.
Tonight, Smith extra pass, Carlton.
Before Courtney Williams buries another to stretch their lead back to 8.
And Williams dialing up a triple.
The Fever tried battling back for one last time when CC found Samuelson for corner 3 with 2 minutes left to go. But once again, their comeback attempt was cut short as Natisha Heiderman cooks Samuelson here to get the +1.
Samuelson gets Byer, draws the...
And in the dying seconds, Carleton drills the dagger 3 to finally put this out of reach. Though the Fever failed to extend their 5-game winning streak, they still showed that they could hang toe-to-toe with the top teams in the league, as their big 3 led the pack, with Caitlin dropping another monster game of 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists on 5 of 10 shooting. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell added 23 points, making it the 8th time she scored 20 or more points in their last 9 outings. And finally, Aaliyah Boston chipped in 20 points and 5 rebounds to wrap it up for the Fever. In the post-game interview, Caitlin was candid about her emotions getting the best of her.
I thought it was frustrating. I thought I got fouled a couple times there in the second half on mid-range jump shots, and I mean, it happens. Sometimes they get called, sometimes they don't. I mean, I think I could have done a little bit better job controlling my own emotions, but I think it just started bad for us and then continued to snowball, and that's something we have to control a little bit better.
Coach Christy Sides echoed that sentiment, acknowledging Clark's fiery spirit while emphasizing the need for composure in critical moments.
She's just so passionate and so, her competitive spirit is like, I mean, it reminds me of Diana Taurasi. I mean, she's that, and so when she is upset or mad, like that's what we've been working on, trying to figure out how to get past those moments. I was worried she was going to pick up a T in that third quarter, and thank goodness that she didn't. But that's growth, and she's got to learn that in those moments, I need my point guard to have a cool head. We're working on those things. That's what a young team. That's what you do, is you try to figure out, talk about these moments, watch them in video, show them where okay, this just can't happen because it caused this, and this. There's a reaction, to all of our actions, and we've got to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a worse spot with those kind of moments.
Anyway, the matchup between Caitlin and Collier has no doubt lived up to its expectation, and despite the loss, CC continues to ball out coming off the Olympic break, as she now has more 25-point, 5 assist, and 5 3-pointers made in the season than any other player in WNBA history. This is quite scary news for the rest of the league, because as you saw with her numbers recently, CC looks like she has found her stride already, and her chemistry with her Fever teammates looks solid as well. With 5 games left in their schedule, the Fever is slowly rounding up to form, and with this version of Caitlin Clark leading them in charge, I'm pretty sure that they'll make a major splash in the playoffs, because this is definitely a different Fever team than the one we saw at the beginning of the season.